What up? Welcome to the BruceCooper podcast. On this episode, I invited my good friend, TheStevenLee, to sit down and chat with me. If you're a fan of coffee, you're gonna like this episode. I mean, even if you're not a fan of coffee, I'm not a huge coffee drinker, but I mean, I like coffee. Steven loves coffee. Awesome guy, interesting life. I never feel like I have enough time. Every podcast, I feel like, gosh, wish I could go longer. And it's getting worse and worse. So I don't know, expect maybe the duration of these to lengthen, soon. But anyway, we did experience some technical difficulties with this one as well. Somewhere during one of the conversations, I had some computer issues, so I had to restart. But I just left it in because it's, I don't know, a little bit more raw that way. And yeah, the podcast, they'll be getting better and better with each one. I'm just, like I said, I'm still learning how to do this. Anyway, enjoy this one. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for all the feedback. Thank you so much to everyone who's reached out and wants to be on the episode. I'm gonna get everyone on, I promise you. Again, thank you. Make sure you check Steven out, twitch.tv/TheStevenLee, all one word. Enjoy this, and I love you. All right, cool. So, didn't mean to blow your ears out there.
You're good.
I am here with my friend StevenLee. Steven, I met you through Twitch.
It's right.
Yeah, twitch.tv/ is it TheStevenLee, all one word?
Yeah, TheStevenLee, all one word.
Perfect.
I had to come up with something somewhat just to make myself be TheStevenLee, because there's like 1,000 of us.
Yeah,
within like a 10-mile radius of where I even live. So
that's a great username.
Yeah, everything's taken that has to do with my name. Steven Smith, like for real.
Right.
Like, nothing original. So I am yeah.
It always blows, like my real name isn't Bruce. I'm sure.
Yeah, I know. My mind was literally blown the first time I found that out.
Yeah.
I felt like I was living a lie, you know?
Yeah. I have a really unique name. So it was like my last name, my real last name is Hooper. Yeah. But it's spelt like differently than
what you would think.
Yeah. So it was just try giving that to people as like no one would ever, they'd have to see it written in order to accurately be able to. And then I was like concerned about like privacy, and I mean, I still am concerned about privacy, but nowadays
I should be more than I am. I'm a little too loose with some things when it comes to privacy and the internet, but nothing has happened yet. So fingers crossed. Yeah.
Well, cool. So yeah, I met you through Twitch. How long ago? It's probably a couple of years now, right?
It's been a minute. I started streaming on Twitch in 2016.
Cool.
It was a soccer game FIFA EA puts out every year. And I don't know how I discovered Twitch. I just one day just stumbled upon it. I think I was searching a video for something that I was trying to play, and a Twitch link came up, and I watched the person stream, and I was like, what is this? Yeah. And I decided to go to like the homepage, and I was really into Overwatch 2 at the time. And I stumbled across a little known streamer, Tim the Tap Man. I think you might have heard of him. Yeah. And started watching him, and I just was like enamored by like everything, his personality, his gameplay. And I was like, this is nuts. And people were just like throwing him money. And I'm like, what is going on with
But Tim doesn't know it, but I had breakfast with him. Have you heard this story?
Yeah? No.
Yeah. I was at TwitchCon 2018 in San Jose, and Tim stayed at the same hotel that I was lucky enough to stay in. And I went down to have breakfast, and I sat directly next to Tim and some people who probably would rather stay anonymous. And Tim looked at me and said, the service here is terrible. And I made a squeaky noise out of my mouth. And dude, Tim's the same for me, man. Like, it's kind of like a a hero to me in a way, you know.
It's weird. Yeah. Like I'll still watch. I don't honestly watch him nearly as much as I used to. I've kind of found like a group of streamers that I really get down with, and I'll visit him every once in a while. But yeah, through that, like it was around that time I started using Twitch to like research whatever video game I was gonna try to buy next, and The Long Dark was on my list, and I searched it, and no face cam, but the most beautiful voice I ever heard. I was like, what is this? Like, for real. No face cam, but you won me with the personality and the voice. The voice was it was great.
Well, hey,
and hey, no problem. But yeah, so ever since then, admittedly, I've been an on and off again viewer, lurker. Twitch and I have that kind of relationship that I'm trying to work on. Where I leave her for somebody else, and eventually I come back.
Yeah, dude. It's the beautiful part about it. It's always there.
Yeah, but yeah, that's kind of when I found you, and it's just been crazy watching your progression from, The Long Dark, no face cam to literally I don't want to sound like I'm a fangirl, but I kind of am. One of the come on, Steve, the crispest streams on Twitch. No, your cam and the effort you put into your alerts, your graphics, everything is just it's top notch. So it's been awesome seeing what can come of Twitch if you decide to really put some work into it.
Man, lots of free time, right?
Yeah, right. Which I bet. I mean, I guess for me, that's what I'm lacking is I've been streaming regularly for a little bit now, but it's just, man, the time to put into it to get it to what I would like it to be is just it is. It's where I would quit. I have to quit my job almost. There's a lot that goes on. It's not as easy as some streamers make it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, even when you get to the point where you can quit your job, it just gets worse. I yesterday was quote unquote a quote unquote day off, but I did a 2 podcasts and mixed them down and sent out probably 45 to 75 emails. It's never I never. And I'm kind of a nobody, that's typically, and then Edith, my wife, she works just as hard, and it's never, and I talked about this a little bit last, it's never a guaranteed thing either. It's not all that, but you can't go into it. I've learned that I can't go into it for any other reason than just in hopes that one person listens or one person checks it out, right?
Oh, definitely.
If one person watches your stream and has a positive impact, it's worth it. And people, I think, forget that, right? I mean,
definitely.
It's one person. One person's going to grow up, and one person, might get married, and they might have kids, and they're going to experience death and then heartbreak. And then they're going to, people don't value. There's so much Twitch is metrics based, and people, I only have 5 people or 3 people watching me. It's dude, those are 3 human lives,
Yeah, 100%. I know. So streaming since 2016, and then I streamed FIFA 16 for a while then, and I took a year break. Work just got absolutely crazy, and in that time I ended up losing my job, and we moved from the Philly area to central western PA, which is the middle of nowhere, and I started to get back into streaming. It was probably about 2018, and people who checked me out when I played FIFA were coming back hey, we missed you. We didn't know what happened, because I literally just vanished off the face of the earth. And that was before I decided to really make an effort and set up any type of social media or Discord server or whatever. Right. And then I got a new job and things got crazy again, and I took another year off. And just this past into summer, I really wanted to start just making an effort at it. And again, those same people just hey, like you're back. It's great. Like we've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
And to know like, hey, you've been with me since 2016 when you were like in junior high and now you're starting college. Like it blows my mind. Like that alone blows my mind. And then when people are like, hey, I like you enough to drop you a sub, it's just like, I never want that to just get to the point where I'm just like, oh, cool, sub, whatever. Like,
yeah, dude, never will.
I want it to always be just like, you chose to spend money on me.
Yeah.
To watch me play a video game.
For some emotes.
It's
the dream, you know?
Blows my mind. Like it literally still, like I was gone for a year and I had people still like, hey, I kept subbing, waiting for you to get back.
I sometimes wonder if I took a break for a year, I'd probably, I don't know if anyone was, I wonder if people would still
I mean, I like this, I love the guy, but I'm like, man, let's make better life choices. Like I appreciate it. I really do. But no, but I mean, it's just crazy to just see like, even though I may only have just a handful of viewers, just the impact that's even making, just, I still like, yeah, it just blows my mind that I'm able to do this even for fun and still have that impact. It's nuts.
It's crazy. Absolutely. You mentioned, so you lost your job, you know, it's kind of nuts. Like doing this for a while, people lose their jobs all the time, or they go through these things. And I'm always curious, like, are they cutting down a tree outside? Do you hear that?
I do not hear anything.
Good. As long as you don't hear it.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah.
I wish he'd lose his job out there. No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually mean that. So when people, so my father lost his job when I was in high school, and he'd worked for the same place for 40 years. And there's a big, you know, it's like a death, right? Like it's or like a really hard breakup.
Yeah, I honestly took it a little easier than my wife did.
Yeah.
Because we also have two small kids. My daughter now is 7 and my son's 5, but this was a couple years ago, so they're even younger. And so she was super worried and nervous. And for me, I'm like, I understand, like this happens in life. Like I didn't want to play like the victim card, like I'm the only one that's ever lost my job. So I took it a little better. I say that like, the persona that I gave out was like, oh, he's okay with this. But then like, it kind of just sits with me. And honestly, like the times when I should have been like pushing to stream, like that's when I knew like streaming was more than just me trying to make a quick buck, because that's not immediately what I went to. I go to streaming because I want to have fun and I just want to like hang out with people. Honestly, if I didn't stream, I don't know how many video games I would actually play. I love the interaction with people. That's one of the main reasons video games
unless I stream.
Why I started streaming, because if I'm going to play this game by myself, like I'm going to still be able to talk to someone. And so once I finally got to a point where I was able to just like be comfortable and enjoy things, like that's when everything started to get kind of back to normal. But like, it's one of those things that it happens, and it's super scary. Like my wife, it literally was like, we lost someone in my family.
Yeah.
Like it was heartbreaking.
So like, is it one of those things where it's like, it always, you know, I imagine at the time of your release or whatever, it always seemed way worse now that you have a job and now that you're, you know, you've established yourself and things are, you know, for the most part back to normal. It sounds like, you look back and go, yeah, that wasn't like as bad as I maybe thought it was going to be in my mind. Like, did you learn anything from, like, you know, because that's an experience that people oftentimes wonder what I always feel, you know, when I worked, when I was in the job, you know, the job circuit or whatever, I often wondered, like, man, if I was let go, like, what would I take away from that? You know,
I'll be honest, like I was in a sense lucky because I knew it was probably going to come.
Right.
So I had already kind of braced and prepared myself for when this day comes. Now I say that like, I still didn't have a job to fall back on. Wasn't like, I still was giving like my 100% to the job that I had. It is, I mean, especially with kids, like it is nerve wracking. Like, because it's not me that I have to. Single Steven could live off of nothing and be fine, but I have 2 kids and a wife that like they need food, they need clothes, they need a place to stay, and so
yeah,
it was just like, as much as I thought I was prepared for it, there were still nights where I was just like, nothing's gonna get better.
of course.
I mean, there's still even nights where I'm like that. Like, as I'm not, like, I love, right. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a barista. I make coffee. I was going to get into that. Like, what do you do? I sling lattes. I pour like the pretty.
Hey man, that's an art.
It is an art. And this is a sad thing is I had a job I went to college for, and now I'm freaking making coffee, and I've never worked harder in my life for something than to pour a stinking little flower onto someone's drink. I busted my butt to get that down. Like, I've never, awesome. And it's like, it's a little like embarrassing. Like, this is the hardest thing I've ever worked for, to just, but it's great. Like, when someone takes a picture of something that I've poured, like, it makes me really happy that I'm like, I did a good job. They really like this. They're going to recommend, to come see me so I can pour something else on somebody else's drink. And it's a lot of fun.
Honestly, like, I buy a lot of things, a lot of little things. And I've learned to take, like, there is so much value in the little things, right? Like, if at point, at price A and price B, I'll pay that premium extra if I can for the little things that add so much value. And you don't get that, it's not just coffee, it's everything. And if you go through life, like, searching for those little things that have a little bit more value, like, your buck feels like you're spending your money more, like, wisely, it's
like, it's something actually worthy of the work that you put in to get that money.
And even if it's a cup of coffee, like, that's living in Portland, I'm sure you've heard all the I used to live in Portland, Oregon, right? It's like the coffee
it's the mecca.
And they have these little shops where they'll serve you just this plain bread and coffee, but like, they'll put, just watching them put like a little bit more like love into it.
Oh no, for sure. You can definitely, like, I joke around, but you can taste when somebody cares about the drinks that they're making, like 100%.
Absolutely.
And which I have a crazy passion for coffee that's only honestly grown since I started working at the coffee shop. It's been a little over a year and a half. We'll be going on 2 years in June. And it's honestly something that, now that I look back, like, I can see myself potentially like making the coffee industry some sort of career choice for me. It's like nothing I went to school for, nothing that I've like am trained outside of just what I've learned and taught myself and have picked up. And it's led into me roasting my own coffee and selling that on the side. And it's funny because, like, I do a lot of sales by like meeting people in parking lots, and I'm like, you never thought you'd meet someone in a Sheetz parking lot to buy a bag of coffee late at night, but here we are. And
I know, like all the coffee you've sent us, man, we've loved it, and it just can't get enough of it. All the coffee that you haven't ever sent.
I know, dude.
Steven, what the fuck, man? Where is the coffee?
Every day I roast. No. You don't understand. Like, I know what I've said, and I mean it. It's coming. I'm just playing. Seriously. At first I was like, what is he saying? He's lying to everybody.
Yeah. Dude, no, I mean, it's
as good as he makes it sound, 100%.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I don't even drink coffee. My wife
I know.
Drinks coffee.
Yes. And I know, and she likes a darker coffee. And so honestly, right now, like, if we want to get real nerdy with coffee, I've got 2 Ethiopians.
Oh, wow.
One's washed, one's natural, but they're fruity, like really fruity. Like, if she likes strawberry jam, she'll like the natural because it's going to have strawberry jam taste notes. But
see, no, I truly never understood this whole.
It's like a wine, man.
Dude, but wine, even like we'll get different reds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this just tastes like it's dry, and I love it.
People. Yeah. No, some coffee roasters are full of crap when they like.
Do you legitimately taste strawberry in it though? Like,
yes.
Do you legitimately taste
100%
sweet? Really?
Which blew my wife's mind. Because
But if I drink it, am I just going to taste black coffee?
No. You see, that's the thing. She's the same way. I made her a cup of coffee the other day with an AeroPress. I'm like, what do you taste? She hates that question because it's always like, I don't know. It's just coffee. She was like, oh, this actually tastes like there's like blueberry was in here. I'm like, yes, like you're getting it. Now a lot of coffee, depending on where you get it from, it will have like just taste like coffee. But there are certain coffees, especially Ethiopians, if they're roasted light, you will get a really fruity coffee. Now there are companies that are like, oh, it tastes like marzipan and orchid. I'm like, nah, like, okay, let's just cut the bull crap. It doesn't taste like that. You're just trying to sound like fancy. But yeah, no, it's definitely like it's one thing I never really found either until I started working in the industry and started doing cuppings and going to roasters and trying all sorts of things, that there's some weird, crazy tasting coffee that doesn't taste anything like coffee you would think. And so it's awesome. It's definitely opened my eyes to like coffee industry and the world that's out here outside the US, because we can't technically grow coffee in the United States.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Hawaii is the only place in North America that can, well, some places in Mexico, but within the United States, Hawaii is the only place that can grow coffee, and it's super expensive because of that.
Because it's considered a drug or something?
No, it's the elevation and the climate.
Oh, so we physically can't.
Yeah, so it's too, like, anywhere we have elevation, it's too cold.
Right. Okay.
So frost will wreck coffee, and anywhere with a high enough elevation, with about 13, like 1,300 meters above sea level, is what ideally is what you'd want. Now you can grow coffee a little lower, but that's usually like your commodity coffee. That's not the best that they'll just throw in like Dunkin' or something from the grocery store. But yeah, we just physically can't grow it here in the US because of our climate. It's too cold.
Super interesting.
Yeah. So it's, the more you know.
Yeah. I mean, so like, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, like, you roast, so you get these beans from Ethiopia. You said Ethiopia?
Yeah, you can get them. There's a lot of places like producing countries. Ethiopia is technically, like, quote unquote, the birthplace of coffee. Like, that's where coffee was first discovered, growing wild. But there's a lot of like importers that you can get coffee through as someone who roasts, and they do all the, like, they're like the middleman. They go to the washing stations in country and pick out the coffee that they think would be the most interesting. And then I would buy the coffee from the importer. If I was a larger like roaster, like who we serve at our coffee shop, they actually have direct relationships with farms.
Right.
And so they're able to pay the farmers a better wage than what you can typically get anywhere else. Okay. Because coffee is like I haven't checked recently, but couple weeks ago, the average coffee price would be pretentious and
sorry, something happened there.
Yeah, I just got that, and he's recording again.
Give me just 1 second.
Yeah,
there was just a little go ahead and click that link.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's
okay. I don't know what I can hear and what you can't hear, so I'm just like, I'll just talk through it all.
Yeah. Don't worry about it too much. So you should have gotten another link.
I did. I'm writing my name.
Okay.
Gotcha. All right. Allow. All right. There we go.
Dude, the freaking bugs, man. All right. So
I think
it cut off right when we started talking about getting coffee from Ethiopia and then paying the farmers. If you're a larger roaster, you get direct relationship.
Yeah. So larger roasters will pay, instead of like $1.20 for a pound of coffee, they'll pay closer to $4 or $5.
Got it.
Whereas even like fair trade coffee is still super low. You're still only paying like $2 a pound as a like a importer. So even if you see fair trade, it's technically still not that fair. So that's why like specialty coffee, like not just being pretentious and trying to live up to that whole, I pay like $5 for a latte. Well, it's because they're paying a lot more for their coffee, which in turn is helping out those farmers and their workers. And I mean, it's just a crazy thing. Like in the coffee industry, people are forecasting that there'll be no more coffee in like 50 years.
Whoa.
Just because of the price that it's at, because it's a traded commodity and the price fluctuates, and it's usually super, super low. And when it's, gets a little higher, then you'll have your companies like McDonald's and all those people who want the cheapest they can get, just they try to fight to keep it down. And a lot of workers are just getting out of coffee because there's other things they can grow on their land that will pay them more money for their time.
That's nuts. So
it's you never think, because you always have coffee. Coffee's everywhere. You go to the gas station and you pay $1 for a large cup of coffee, and think about possibly one day that won't be here. It's mind blowing.
So like when you get that coffee bean, right, and you get it, it's and you put it in your oven with like other stuff.
So it's considered, when you get it, it's just a green coffee. It's an unroasted coffee bean. There's different ways of processing coffee. Like I mentioned, natural or washed. That just depends on how they get the fruit off of the bean, or the seeds. That's just, wash it. They literally just wash off all the fruit, and then they dry it, and then they ship it to you. Whereas natural is they let it sit out in the sun. That's why you get a lot of, like, with naturals, strawberry and like some fermented flavors with it, because it's literally just sitting out in the sun and letting the fruit just disintegrate and fall off of it, which kind of leads to some of those flavors. But yeah, then I get that, and then I don't add anything to it. I have levels of roast per bean that I think will taste good. Anything that has been cupped by like quality graders that are like chocolate or nuts or like a deeper taste like that, I typically will like, okay, this will be a good bean to roast a little bit darker for people who like a little bit darker of a coffee. Because usually, coffee that's chocolatey or nutty takes cream well. A lot of people who like dark coffee like to add cream. And so I'll do that. But when I get like an Ethiopian, or like I have like a personal stash of coffee, like a Guatemalan that's a natural process that I know is going to taste really good as a lighter roast, and then I'll roast to that, because the lighter the roast you have, the more natural coffee flavor you have from that bean. So when you see like strawberry or peach or bergamot or whatever like they throw on the bag, a lot of times that flavor is found in a lighter coffee, because you're able to bring out the natural taste of that coffee, that growing area, that soil it was used in. The darker you roast the coffee, the more you introduce roast tones, and you start to kind of cover up any of the natural coffee flavor that bean had, and you start to introduce just like your typical darker roasted coffee.
Right.
And then, so I kind of just base on what I'm looking for with that bean. And like, I'll be honest, like most of the coffee that I sell, it's more of like a medium roast. Like I understand that not everybody is, like my wife calls me a coffee snob. I try not to be, but not everybody's going to enjoy like a fruitier, lighter coffee that you can taste like the differences between. And I mean, it's true. Like you can, like there are people who can blindly cup coffee from Brazil, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Guatemala, and guess which country they come from, because each country, each growing region has a particular like flavor, taste note to it. So the darker you go, you kind of get rid of that. But I understand a lot of people, like they're looking for like a morning cup that they can throw in cream and sugar. And so I still try to provide that, but like without burning it. Like you can still have a dark coffee without having a burnt coffee.
Well, it blows my mind. So they don't actually add anything additionally
like
to.
There are some, like if you go and buy like pumpkin pie flavored coffee, like they've added something to that. And a lot of
I always
times
thought that they would just, if you're tasting strawberry, that when it sat out in the sun, they just threw some strawberries.
No, it's just that's just the natural taste of the fruit as it ripens and falls off the coffee.
Like,
so it's.
I hate to make this connection, but it's like pot. People talk about like in the cannabis industry.
I've never really looked into that.
So in Oregon, it's huge. It's huge because it's recreationally legal, and like there's all these grow rooms, but it's become that same sort of like artisan.
Yeah, like different strains are.
And they'll be like, oh, they have notes, and it's got a very blueberry sour. I'm like, dude, I don't know. No way. Maybe I don't smoke enough pot.
No, hey, like even with coffee, even though that I've drink a ton of coffee, there are still a lot of times where I'm just like, it's just coffee. Like it's good coffee or it's bad coffee, but it's still just coffee.
Do you ever get anxious? Do you ever get anxious from the amount of coffee that you drink?
No, actually, no, not really. Only once in my do I remember like, oh my gosh. And it was mainly because I was on an empty stomach and I had more than 3 espressos from our shop, and our espresso shots are already technically a double shot. So I was probably pushing like 8 on an empty stomach, and I could just feel my body like vibrating. But other than that, no, like I'll drink tonight after I eat dinner. I'll probably have a cup of coffee because it doesn't really affect me. I've started drinking more tea to try to like curb that. Like I don't need coffee at like 8 o'clock at night. So I'll drink like an herbal tea. I've got like a chai at the moment that I'm working through, but for the most part, coffee doesn't really like mess me up. My dad, on the other hand, he used to be the same way, but man, the past few months, if he has got a coffee after like 4 o'clock, he is up to like 3 and just can't go to sleep. And I'm like,
so sensitive to it.
Man, I don't get that yet.
I'll get like double beats in my heart and like,
oh man, yeah.
Like, and I've talked to doctors about it, and they're like, "Yeah, you're just sensitive to caffeine," and like it's not double beats, but like I feel like this, like, whew, and I'm like, "Whoa, okay,
yeah,
had a little bit too much caffeine," but that's after, that's like, drinking coffee all day or like a long drive. We drive to San Francisco, LA all the time. LA is a 15-hour drive. And like, I'll just pound coffee or tea. And then when I get there, I'm like, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and
I try to like limit myself to the point like, so this morning I opened the shop and we dial everything in to make sure it tastes fine. So I had espresso from our espresso machine, and then I tried a little bit of all the coffees that we had available just to make sure everything was like at the grind size we needed it to be. Everything was fine. And then I'll come home and I'll probably have like a cup of coffee, and then I won't have anything other caffeine until maybe after dinner. So I usually limit it to like 3 times throughout the day. But there are certain days where it's just like, I feel like I'm always drinking coffee. But at the moment, nothing yet. I know I have this fear that it is going to hit me one day that I'm going to think that I can still drink coffee like no one's business. And then 6 in the morning, I'll be like, what the heck? I cannot sleep. So I'm not looking forward to that day, but there's good decaf out there. There is. Yeah. So
interesting.
I'm working on my son. He's only 5. And so he'll enjoy a little decaf with me here and there. And it's funny watching him. He's already got his favorite coffee shops that he knows which one has the decaf he likes and which one doesn't.
Wow.
I think he's more of a snob than I am, honestly.
I don't think I had coffee until I was like 16,
I'm
17.
the same. I didn't get into coffee until even older than that for me. You should do like a coffee stream.
I'm
not gonna. That is one thing I want to do, but I'm trying to figure out how to set it up. I mean, I struggle enough with streaming as is. I've thought about making like a YouTube video on like the world's jankiest Twitch stream setup because I literally have no room anywhere to stream, and so it's kitchen table. Like I set it up. Every time I stream or game, I bring out everything. I put it on the kitchen table. I stream.
Are you doing that right now?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm setting it at my kitchen table. You have to
set it up Well,
I do.
dude, that's commitment, man.
Occasionally I'll like be able, if I know, like I stream every Tuesday night and I'm doing Subnautica right now. So I know like if Monday I pull it out or Sunday night, I'm like, I'll just leave it up till Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then if I know like no one's coming over and like, cause our table is big enough to hold like my family of 4. So it's like, I can leave it up at the end, but sometimes my wife, she just does get a little tired of just seeing wires and monitors. Like, because I have 2 monitors. I've got like my mic clipped to the side of the table. My PC's out. I play Elite Dangerous too, so I've got like my HOTAS set up, and it's like I've taken over. And dude, so
you need to go rent a storage unit or.
Hey, I'm honestly like because where I live right now, one of the reasons we moved to where we moved is just it's a lot cheaper to figure out life.
Yeah,
what I want to do next in like Philly. Philly is just
Eastern or Western Philadelphia or something like that.
I was more on the east side, so a lot of people where I lived worked either in Philly or they worked in New York City, and they just take the train in. Mm-hmm. So it was a little more of like the affluent area, like Bucks County. It's
I've never been.
It's too expensive to just live. Oh man, you're missing out. You're definitely missing out. Yeah, at least you got to go to New York City once just to say. I mean, it's the biggest tourist trap ever, but you got to go at least once to say you've been. But
people always tell me that. I'm like, dude, I really want to go to New York. And they're like, you don't really.
Like, if you go to New York, I mean, it's hard to say don't go to Times Square because, I mean, it's Times Square. But if you really want to go to New York, you just got to find somebody who lives in New York and have them. I have
friends who live in New York.
Then have them tell you.
Of them.
They need to tell you where to go, the places you need to eat. Like avoid all of the giant tourist stuff because, I mean, it's just it's stupid how it's just so commercialized. But it's cool. I mean, just to say you've been, we'd go around Christmas because my sister lives out there. So we'll go around Christmas and fight the crowds and see the tree. And, the same thing with Philly. I think that's the biggest thing from living in a larger place to where I live now is just like the food. Everything is just,
that's what I've heard.
I miss it. But I don't know. So that's my next goal. My goal is once I start streaming and if I start bringing in enough, honestly, like my first big thing is renting an office space.
Yeah, man.
So like,
I can't tell you. I used to stream when you met me. One of the biggest reasons I didn't use a cam is because I streamed in the living room, and after 4 years or so, I finally got an office, and it's changed my life.
Yeah, I know office spaces around where I live aren't crazy. Like they're definitely doable.
Well, mine's a room in our apartment. I call it my office.
But
having an office space would be nuts.
Yeah. Oh, I know. So that's like that's like the end goal. That's why I use a green screen. I hate using a green screen. I hate it. And like, I get salty when I look at people's streams like yours. And there's a lot of others like Tate, like I want that. I've almost thought about like green screening a backdrop like that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like it's all somebody told me very early on, the coolest part about Twitch is that somebody's going to be able to relate to your setup. And that's what's going to be the common link. And that's what we're searching for, right? Is the common link, right? Like, that's like we talked about Tim. One of the cool, like the reason I love, the reason I love watching Tim, and I think what drew me to him to begin with, was that he just reminded me like of somebody that I would want to be friends with in high school.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I'd be like, man, he's like the cool guy that like I'd love to, because he's like a caring guy, but you just know he's cool, right? Like he's like a cool, caring guy. And like those are the type of people that you want to surround yourself with. And I think that that's what makes Twitch is that you find these people that make you feel that make it feel like you can relate to them.
No, definitely. And yeah, I mean, and I like when people are like genuine, like going back to Tim, like he's crazy, but I'm like, this is who I can easily see. This is who he is on camera or off of camera. I mean, like the same with you and a bunch of other people that I like to follow. It's like, hey, these people are real. They're not putting on a show. They're not, putting on an act. if they're going to put on a show, then go all Dr. Disrespect and just make it over the top. I can appreciate that too. But yeah, there's a lot of people that I feel like are just they're try hard. They're trying to get that YouTube clip. They're trying to just get that reaction. And it's just, that's not what I'm looking for at all. I'm looking, honestly, that's why, like I said, why I started streaming was so I had people to kind of talk to as I played video games. I'm looking for that community, that relationship aspect side of things, building friendships. And while a lot of people that I know, they enjoy what I do, but I still there are a lot of things with even my stream that I'm just oh, if I could fix this, if I could fix that, if I could get this, if I could get that. But
that never goes away.
I honestly, I realize as you get even bigger, it's just still, I need, if I could get this to be just a little crisper, if I could get this just to sound a little tighter,
or then it's
always going to be there.
Hardware, right? You spend a couple $1,000 on this computer, and then a couple years, a new GPU comes out, and it's $500 more, and so it's okay, and then you write it out. It just never goes away. But I mean, that's part of the fun of it too, right? If everything was stagnant all the time, then no one would watch.
Oh yeah, if everybody had the same setup, it wouldn't be nearly as interesting to see what everybody's got going on. So yeah, it's fun.
So what's in the future? What do you what do you want? Are you wanting to start your own are you wanting to start a business around coffee?
Man, that
sounds like you're passionate about it.
I am passionate about coffee, and it's something, like I said, it's a newer passion. It's something that I've never really thought of beforehand until just recently. Man, I ask myself that all the time. What is next? Starting a business I find it would be exciting. I'm also and this is probably one of my downfalls, is that I'm very cautious to the point that I don't really want to take a risk to take out loans to what if it doesn't work and now I owe all these people all this money that I don't have?
Do it without taking out a loan? Could you start really small?
That's what I've done. That's where I'm at now. It's I've got everything's legal. My kitchen's inspected. All of that's good. But for me, honestly, to grow so I roast everything by hand. I don't actually have a fancy roaster. Those, for me, to get one will start at about $5,000, and they go on up to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the size and capacity and all of that. So I've not made that investment yet. For me, doing it at my house, if I did decide to get a roaster for $5,000, it's going to also have to be finding a new space. And with that, it's going to come insurance costs, because it's flames and gas and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Could you make a reasonable living full time doing it by hand in a bigger space without having to could you sell yourself as somebody who does it by hand solely?
The only problem with that is just time spent. So being able to have enough output to kind of bring in that full-time income.
Yeah. So the output,
the outputs, it's a lot slower. And since it's by hand, the time to roast is about the same, but then with a roaster, you can dump the coffee into a cooling tray and it cools while you start your other roast. And it's just a cycle. With me, I pull it off. I cool it down by hand. And so that's going to take time. And then I have to go and then let everything cool down before I destroy things and melt things. And just because it gets to around 420 degrees. So I don't want to overheat everything that I'm using. And I've burnt through pans because it's so hot for so long, and I don't let it cool, and handles are burning off and things are going nuts. So it's possible to build it up enough, but I still think to make a full-time living, I'll have to make that investment in getting some kind of roaster. But I'm just taking everything a little slow. I just see where it goes. Like I said, 2 years ago, I never would have thought I would be roasting coffee and selling it to people. same with even like streaming. I'm not going crazy with it to try to make it something. I stream once, twice a week just to see what's going on, what's out there, and what I get in. I count that as like a blessing that people are willing to pay for what I've got going on, whether it's coffee or my time on Twitch, and just enjoy it for the moment. But yeah, like long run, what my dream, what I would love to do, honestly, you kind of almost nailed it with streaming and coffee. If I could do both somehow and have them relate in a way. Obviously not all video games are going to relate to coffee, but to be able to stream like roasting coffee and being able to answer questions as it happens, and kind of just have like a source of knowledge on the subject as I'm doing it, I think would be great. Like, obviously,
I don't know if you remember this. A long time ago, I made wallets.
I do. Honestly, I tried to do that too.
You what?
I tried to do that too, and mine did not turn out.
Oh, so really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So like doing that opened my eyes to like, having somebody watch you make something by hand, it adds a layer of excitement to receiving it.
Oh, for sure.
Really hard to explain, right? Like I would make them from start to finish, and the person who bought it would watch, sometimes 6 to 7 hour streams of me making
wallets.
Right. And like, if you were to take that wallet and put it next to one that was like manufactured, that was the exact same, even though they were the exact same wallet, like seeing somebody make it was just a really cool experience that adds a lot of value to the product. Right. And like,
oh, for sure. Cause it's special now.
Yeah. And like, I get it. Like, because it is more valuable. Like value is the perception a lot of times, not, it can be a perception beyond just the physical quality, right? Like, you understand what I'm trying to say?
Oh, no, for sure. I mean, I can even
the handmade aspect.
Even go back to like coffee, having somebody pick you up coffee that's good coffee. You're like, oh, this is good. But going to the shop and watching the person craft that cup for you, like the energy and the time and the care that they put into it, it automatically makes it taste better. And that's what I try to get across to some of our like new baristas. They're like, well, I can't, like, why do we pour latte art? I'm like, well, it's not just, because you make something pretty. Like, it's cool, but there's thousands of people that do this and post it to Instagram every day. But it's the fact that when a customer gets this coffee, they see that work was put into it, and they're more willing to then like talk about it. And through their talking about it, someone else may come by and want to buy a coffee just like they did. Or if, someone, like going back to a wallet, someone pulls out their wallet, oh, nice wallet. They've got like a talking point about, oh, well, yeah, this was made like this, and I saw the guy do it. And like, here's his, like, check him out. And then you might have just sold another wallet. And so it is.
I've been keeping this on the wraps, and it's going to sound really weird.
We got an exclusive here.
Oh, sure. Right. Yeah. So I have like a lot of Game Boys, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I love, like, especially, I guess now it's considered like retro vintage Nintendo consoles and stuff.
Okay.
And I've been talking to people and reaching out to people and getting essentially like sourcing parts, and I want to start restoring like the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color and Game Boy Pockets and all that. But I'm going to be doing it in a special way where like the buttons and the shell, they're all going to be color matched to things. Like I'm going to make one that's like kind of all around, like, remember Doug Funny?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like Rugrats or like,
I gotcha. Yeah.
But the color is unique, and it's not painted. They're actually, I'm going through the legwork of like reaching out to manufacturers who make molds, who are able to color buttons in a way that would be super, specific to me. And even if it's just for a project for myself, Twitch, to kind of wrap it all around, is that Twitch gives you kind of a platform to get these ideas out. So like if you have an idea surrounding coffee, or you have an idea surrounding making wallets, or restoring old Game Boys, or anything, fixing phones, or anything, art, anything, like it's really neat to have a platform to where a couple of people can watch and go, man, that's cool. Or I don't know, it just adds a certain...
No, for sure. And one thing I love, even with being able to like roast by hand, is like encouraging other people to like try this. Like you might have never thought you could roast coffee at your house, but guess what? If you've got a pan and a whisk, you can technically roast coffee. Like,
and I think you should try that. I think you should try streaming that, even if it's just in your kitchen, or at your coffee table or your kitchen table. Like, just throw up a stream where you teach people how to roast coffee. Do it once, and I think you'd be really super surprised at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, I have friends that, I mean, they tell me all the time, like, you should stream like your coffee setup and roasting, and like they don't even watch Twitch, really. They're just like, I think I would tune in for that, and I'm just like, and I've been lazy with it. Another issue with that is like, I can only stream at night. I come home from work. I've got 2 kids that like, family is more important than streaming.
Sure.
And so like, I'll wait till they're in bed, and that's when I will start streaming. And I just need to find, like, honestly, it's all excuses. I just need to set aside a day.
I mean, you can also
I'm going to stream this day.
Like,
I mess with that. Yeah. I'm just trying to find excuses why I can't. But
it's okay. I'm not here to pressure you in anything.
No, I know.
I just think
you're not, trust me, you're not the only one. And it's one of those things I've thought a lot about, like, even to set me apart from other roasters, because like streamers, there's 1,000 roasters all across like there's hundreds and thousands of people who roast coffee and sell coffee. And I'm like, that would be able, like, that's one way to set myself apart.
Your coffee get made.
Because I have yet to see, and I will get on Twitch and I'll search, coffee roasting, just to make sure no one else has already started. And
I mean, even if people do start it, you can't let that discourage you.
No, I know. Well, it's like streaming in general. Like, one of the reasons I've wanted to make that video about having like the jankiest Twitch setup is because it's like, if I can stream, there's no reason you can't stream.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If streaming is like something you want to do, then just do it. Like, I stream on a hand-me-down PC that I've got $0 invested into. I stream on like monitors that were given to me. Like, it's just like, I've invested in some audio stuff. I've invested in like another monitor, but like, you don't need, like, I watch people, you like, as much as we love to watch like Tim, like, they're streaming on like stupidly expensive setups, and it's easy to kind of like be like, oh, I can't have that, so I'm not gonna do it. When it's just like, hey, like, you can do it if you really want to. Same with me streaming coffee. Like, it just comes down to, if I really wanted to do it, I could definitely do it for sure.
And I think it'll infest. I think I've planted as much of a seed as somebody would be able to, and if you really want to, it'll infest itself in your mind, and you'll eventually do it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, again, going back like to stream, like, I don't know what got into my mind to even attempt this. Like, I've viewed maybe 3 people on Twitch before. I'm like, I'm going to stream myself. And it's just one of those things that, like, it just, like, I literally am like, okay, I look at my weekly calendar or my weekly schedule. I'm like, when can I fit in a stream? Like, I got to do it. I want to do it.
That's awesome.
And it's just weird how it just gets in you, and it doesn't let go. Like, my wife thinks I'm crazy to stream. And so I'm just like, one day, like, you'll get it. Like, I think, but that's kind of one of the things I'm working on. Is just, I want my wife to see that I'm not just some psycho talking to like a computer.
Oh man, that just takes time,
It does. My son loves it though. So that's what I like. He thinks it's so cool that I stream. Like, he'll check out Tim a little bit when he was doing some Fortnite stuff, because he's like loves Fortnite and plays like the creative mode. He'll just run around the map and chop
Build
trees
stuff.
down. Yeah, and just build stuff. And so he'll ask me, "Are you streaming tonight?" And I'm like, "Maybe." He's like, "Oh, I can't wait."
That's
so
so cool.
he'll go back and like watch the videos a little bit, and so that's it's cool. Like, so I get it, and she will eventually for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's great that Edith is hanging out in your streams and dropping.
At first, she was like, "Why are you giving these grown men money?" And I was like, "I mean, you'll understand." And then I just
you'll get it. Yeah.
I got my own story around it. It's helped me through bouts of mental issues that I've had with myself, and Twitch is responsible for a large portion of my just being able to pull myself out of a rough spot through Twitch. It was really like necessity.
Definitely, like even what you just tweeted out and was like yesterday.
Yeah.
Just about like this whole everything that's been going on with your mom, and just like thanking everybody that they've got your back. It's just, I mean, that's what I hope to be building. Is just a community. Oh, I do, and that's the thing that blows my mind. I may only have 3 to 5 viewers, but they are active in chat and they're active out of chat, and it's like it's great. Like it's literally like it's our own little community. And
there was a stat that came out.
Blows my mind.
There was a stat that came out that said if you average 5 viewers, you're in the top 5% of Twitch broadcasters.
Which, as much as that blows my mind, like having just gone through and just seeing who is streaming, and like I see that, like, and so it's funny. My channel's great. It's either I've got nobody and chat's dead because there's nobody, or I've got the 3 to 5 and they're blowing it up, and it's just like it. I don't know. It's a great feeling, but
it's just gonna get better.
And I see, like, I don't know. I see some people you can get down by not having any viewers easily, but again, that just comes down to why are you streaming?
Well, it's really easy to take that personally, right? Like I must not be funny. And it's like, there's not that. There's so much that goes into it.
There's a lot for sure. Like when I have 0, like I'll go back and watch. I'm still talking as if I'm streaming to like 30 people.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, "How many people are watching?" And I'm just like, "There's 0." She's like, "Why are you talking then?" I'm like, "Because if that one stops by, like I want them to feel welcome." Like, like that's what I'm here for. Like
that
I want
one
to make
person,
their day better. Yeah.
That one person could be another streamer looking to like drop a raid, like.
Which, fun fact, the largest raid I've ever had was like 180, and it was all because I answered her in chat.
Yeah. 100%.
And then I went back and I watched her video, and she went to like 3 different people before me and started commenting on their stream, and no one paid her attention, and she moved on. And it's like, people just don't know, like people just, I think, I don't want to say try too hard, but you just got to be yourself and like just be friendly, be open, don't take things personally. Like trolls, like I get trolls that come by every once in a while, and I personally love it.
Yeah.
Like if I can make their day, like obviously they're having a bad day. Like, so if letting them blow off some steam at me, I can handle it, makes them feel better, then you know what? Awesome. And I've had them come back, and they've been less trollish, and then they're friends. So it's cool. It's just the whole process behind it. Like it still blows my mind. I love it. That's a cool thing. That's a great, like probably my favorite platform to be on is just is Twitch. I don't know of another place that has the same type of community aspect to it. Like you can, make videos for YouTube and people can leave comments, but like the interaction that you get, the one-on-one, the personal live, like I can stop in when I'm having a bad day and just say, hey, and you'll just say what's up. And if I say, man, life sucks, like I know you're there to like talk me off a ledge if need be. Like there's that community there that's just honestly not found anywhere else. And that's what keeps me coming back for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I completely agree. Well, I'm at about as much time as I can give today.
Yeah, man.
I had an absolute blast. Where can we find you? Twitch.tv/TheStevenLee. Okay. Do you have Twitter?
I do, unfortunately, because I'm, of course course, unfortunately, being Steven Smith, everything, like I said, everything's taken.
Yeah.
So I am not the Steven Lee on Twitter or Instagram.
Okay.
Following that person, he's an imposter. So I'm on the Steven Lee Smith, but it's STVNLEESMTH on the Instagram and Twitter. So
SMTH
as the last, SMTH.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
And I'll make sure to link it in the YouTube description.
No, so I'm active on social media, probably more than I need to be, but it's
great.
a lot of fun. Definitely.
Well, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to, out of your day, out of your Monday to be on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I had a really good time. And thank you, dude. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you giving, a voice to just the average person. Like you said, everybody's got a story to tell. And I'm just appreciative that you're letting us tell our stories. I've loved every episode that I've listened to so far.
Awesome.
I found Red Green Jr.
Oh man,
the son,
I love that guy.
He streams. I used to watch that show as a kid, and I did not know that until I heard the podcast. And I was like, "This is it. This is life." Like, I have to go watch all the episodes while he talks about it. It's amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
So
awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. And thank you so much. Again, thank you, and thank you so much for listening. Keep your ear to the ground for more. I'm going to be releasing 2 to 3 of these a week, like I have been for the last month or so. Keep an eye out. Make sure you check out the Steven Lee on Twitch, and then follow him on Twitter. You know the deal. Thanks again for listening. I really, really appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. Be good to one another. Treat each other right. And I will see you on the next one. Thanks again, Steven.
Thank you.